Hey, hello.
This is Violetta. This is your favorite host, Lane. So we are here because we wanted to jump in. Actually, after Mark has his live, because we don't want to interrupt him, because he has like a pretty big audience. So now they can all jump in now to see us. I've been gone in my A. We haven't been posting, and I haven't been posting on my YouTube. Violetta's been carrying solo our podcast, Real Estate Chisme. It's still dropping off pretty much every week, every Wednesday, I believe. Wherever you can listen to it, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you can listen to podcasts, you can download it, and we are coming back full force with their interviews. So we have a couple of interviews coming up. If you guys want to check in who is doing real estate, what Latina or people of color doing real estate that are empower women, we are bringing some guests. So tune in. Right now, we just wanted to come in, see, and talk about like what's going on in our lives. Violetta's actually actively rehabbing a duplex, one unit of that duplex, and she's going with a lot of things, especially hands-on. She's doing a lot of work herself. She and her husband,
hmm
and you're getting all the updates on Instagram. If you don't follow her, Violetta at Moni Chisme. How are you?
I am good. Sorry, I was just trying to I don't know why Instagram never wants to go live. It always acts weird, but yeah, I've been good. It's just over here trying to catch up. Like I haven't seen Lynn in like a month. It feels yeah, it's been a month. So we've been catching up. We just recorded like two episodes and we're like let's just go live and caught up on all the chisme that we've been um doing because we haven't even like texted or anything besides sending each other TikToks and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, and I see Marcus on the chat, and Jasek is also on the chat. That's Jasek is one of the people that I missed when I went to New York. I was trying to meet up with them, but my family just had like too many plans for us, and then we couldn't meet up. But he's in New
Oh
Jersey. Apparently, he's in New York all the time too.
yeah, it's just right across there. I wonder if I stayed there. I think that's where you could get like the train that goes into it. I feel like
New
just
Jersey?
working. Yeah, I think was it where I stayed? It was like literally like right outside, and then you take a train, and it takes you into the city, and so
Yeah, my family is actually live very close to JFK, so
hmm
I got very I was an expert. By the time I left New York, I was an expert taking the train, taking the subway, taking everything. So it's like a maze, but I was able to figure it out. I felt like I don't know if you guys watch this show, The Amazing Race, but it's like a competition show, and you basically go different countries and you do challenges. But a lot of the challenges is navigation to some places with maps instead of like having like your phone.
hmm
So I felt like the Amazing Race trying to figure out like, is it the A train? Is it the B train? I don't know. We're going east or west, north and south. Yeah, that's how I felt.
oh yeah, yeah. It's yeah. I haven't been to New York for what like 2 years maybe now and stuff. So well, I haven't had a reason to go lately. I think last time we went, it was to celebrate one of my friends' like birthdays or whatever. So, and then that's it. I think I'm New Yorked out.
Yeah. So we were talking earlier about your duplex and all the things that you have to deal with it right now. Termite treatment,
Yep.
asbestos, and rerouting electrical, and that turnover, right? Which you said there was like old flooring that was not actually flooring laid down on the flooring, and then you
Yeah, it
have to.
was kind of weird. Yeah, I think well, first they used like some. It was just cheap LVP, basically, like just cheap flooring. So it was already thin, and so as we took it out, like I think what happened was that the way that this house is set up is like, because it's an older house, it's from like the 1950s, I think it was. And it's a wood house and everything with the crawl space underneath or whatever. So obviously that shifts, and they made like, it feels like it's sectioned off, right? Like this room and that whatever. So I think what it looks like happened was that they put the LVP straight through the whole, like from the living room to the kitchen, instead of like kind of like stopping at the door frame and then putting like a transition piece. And so as the house like shifted, or just like because it's uneven there or whatever, it just started breaking off there, and then it just like created a problem, because now looking back at the videos, and when we did the walkthrough, that's where like the flooring started to break, was in those spots where it was in between the rooms, and then it just started, messing up right there. And then the other issue was that it looks like they put the flooring all the way to the wall, instead of leaving like a little small gap for like the
Mhm.
expansion. So I
Yes.
think that also messed up as well. So I think that was the issue with the flooring. And so when we put down the flooring, we are obviously going to not do that, and also like stop in between each room, put a transition piece, so that way it doesn't happen. In if so that's our solution for that. Yeah, the asbestos was a nice find, uh, and it wasn't that hard to get it fixed, and not as expensive. I'm thinking like, oh, like $15,000 or whatever. It was less. It was, I think it was like 4,500 to remove all the insulation, because it's all contaminated. They sealed it, and they do like some spray that knocks down and encapsulates any fibers that might still be in the air or in that area. And then I think it cost me another 2,000 to put the new blow-in insulation and stuff. So I think in total, yeah, it's like about 7,000 to take all that out and stuff. So yeah, so that was fun. The electrical was just frustrating. It's an older house. So in the future, I might not. I don't know if I'll go for an old house again. I don't know. I don't know.
New construction for now
I,
on.
yeah, it's just little things that just kind of irk me, because there's no outlets. For example, like for me, I know in the like not yeah, in the bathroom by the sink, you would like to have like an outlet located nearby for like a blow dryer or whatever. And then the kitchen, you would want to have like an outlet there too for like kitchen appliances or whatever. But this is an older house that didn't have like a lot of stuff like that. So there's not really an outlet nearby. It's a little bit nearby, but it's just little nitpicky things for me. And I'm like, and then of
Mhm.
course the electrical wiring is not up to code, right? Which you're grandfathered in unless you start, doing like major renovations or whatever. Then yeah. So I think those were just like kind of the headaches that were just kind of annoying.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. And I think like the difference, major difference, like you're there to see every single little thing. Like, oh, there's only one outlet. It's gonna be problematic for the tenant
Hmm.
that have like everything connected on that's one layer of the room, right? And
Hmm.
as opposed to like investing at a distance, which you like can't see from the pictures, but you can see
Hmm.
everything in the pictures, right? Or the videos or whatever. And but I think the thing is that not only they just have asbestos, but you had termites. And
Hmm.
I think you or I back in the day, like even 2 years ago, would have been like, oh my God, asbestos. Like I'm gonna drop this house. I'm not gonna continue to like from the inspection to close the deal even because I don't even know how to deal with that, right? Like what
Yeah.
has changed since you 2 years ago or like 3 years ago, like where you're like, oh, asbestos, let me see what I can do about that.
Yeah. Well, I think some of it comes with my safety background as well. So I know like the hazards, but also how to like the precautions and things like that. So that kind of already um, eased my mind, because I've already dealt with like asbestos, electrical. I did all of that stuff. and how to do that, which I was kind of tempted to remove myself because, like, okay, we just have to do this and this and this. And then I was like, you know what?
Do
Like, I'm just
everything.
gonna, like, I don't have the time. I don't have the time. I don't have the right equipment. Then that's PPE. I gotta seal off everything. You gotta have Tyvek. Like, it's a whole process. And I was like, is the juice worth the squeeze, basically? And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get somebody that already has all of that. Same thing with the blowing insulation. I was tempted to just do it myself, but then with the timeline, especially with like the tenant moving in like a week, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like, it's an extra. If I would have done it myself, I could have probably saved like maybe $500. And I was like, I'll just let them do it because I got
Mhm.
other things to do. But
Mhm.
I think that's what it is. Part of it is my safety background and knowing all the health hazards and stuff like that. And then, of course, understanding like the PPE and stuff. And just like, I think I just got into like a mindset is like, okay, well, I no reason to just like to wallow in fear or the stress or whatever. It's like, what's the fix? What do I got to do? Like, that's all the first thing I do is like, okay, great. This is in the house. So let me go to YouTube, and I already know some of it, right? But like, see what's there, call some the professionals, got some quotes and all that stuff. And then it's like, well, I got to do it. I got to get it done. So I think that's what it is. A little bit of the military background too. We just kind of like get told like, well, it got to get done. So like you could cry about it, but you got to get it done. You could be crying it, but it has to get fixed or whatever. So I think that all of that background has helped shape. And then again, a little bit just of of knowing that because I was doing a lot of the work, I've been saving myself with lots of the labor, like the painting and lots of little things. So it's kind of like, well, I save money over here by not by doing a lot of the work myself, and so that just ends up going to like the remediation of the things that I found, like the termites and stuff. Which with the termites, I really imagined that I would have to tent the whole house and all that stuff. And they're like, no, we're just gonna like drill holes here and we're gonna do chemicals and we're gonna go in the crawl space and spray the pillars and then trench around the whatever, all that stuff. So and then that was like $2,000. So not as sometimes your imagination can run wild and make it worse than what it actually is going to be
Mhm.
once you call like the professionals. And then yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And there's so many ways to fix something. Like you said, you had to do treatment, but yeah, I don't know what it's the immigrant mentality, which like we think we can do everything. So just like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and do it, even though like just calling somebody for a code or whatever. Like right now, my niece, which is totally unrelated, like has
Mhm.
a AC problem, right? Like AC is not working, and they did have a couple technicians saying the freon is leaking, so they need a new unit.
Mhm.
And my niece's husband basically was like, "Well, I can replace the neon." And I'm like, "Can you? Because I don't think I don't never seen you touch an AC. Like I haven't." Which is the same person also too that I don't know. This is, I hope they don't listen to this one, but I, you know how like he decided to change out a sink in their house, just make it like
Mhm.
a house good big ass sink, right? And then so you shut off the water. That's the first thing that you do, right? And then
Mhm.
kind of plumbing, you shut off the water, but you also let the water drain, right? Because there's
Mhm.
going to be pressure built in the pipes, so you need to let all the water drain. And this is things that are like you learn through YouTube University, like you
Yeah.
said. And he didn't do that. He shut off the water main and disconnected the sink, disconnected all the piping under the sink. And it's a townhouse. So what he found out is that the leaking didn't stop. So the valve that shut off the main shut off water is old and it doesn't completely shut off the water. So
Mm.
he had the leak and he had to change the whole sink and he refused to call somebody like a plumber or anything. So he changed the whole sink by like basic clogging that like pipe of the sink that was water and going to the water. So he had to do the whole installation while holding off the leak. So it
Oh,
was
geez.
insane, but like those are things that you learn on the go, basically.
Yeah, I think you're right. We have, it's definitely an immigrant mentality, I feel, but also kind of like a, we tend to have like a lot of kind of like a frugal mentality too, because I know I grew up and I had like tios and like family members like, I'm not gonna spend money on that, I could do it myself, or this and that or whatever. And so then you grow up, and then I definitely have that, especially with this property, like we can do all this by ourselves. Like, stressing my husband out, he always like, I'm not a professional, and I was like, you can do it, just YouTube it, like you're fine, right? And
Yeah.
so, but learning to balance that when, and understanding when, okay, it's time to do a professional. Cause I definitely had like some people like, yeah, just go up there and bag it up. I was like, no, cause Texas does let you, right? Like if it's like you could do it. There's not, I didn't see anything that was whatever. They tell you to take these precautions and make sure that, you don't throw it in the regular trash. You got to take it to a certain place, or which was another thing. It's like, I don't want to have to figure out
Right.
where I gotta take it, and then you gotta, and for sure you gotta bag it a certain way. You gotta tape double bag it, tape it, blah blah blah, with label it and all that stuff. I was like, that's just so much work and headaches. And I was like, you know
Mhm.
what? No, like, can I do it? Like, yes, because I have uh, the background and the qualifications to do it, but I don't have the equipment and all that extra research that I have to do to figure
Mhm.
out where to take it, the regulations for this specific city area. And
Mhm.
it's like no. So
Yeah, and then like also what's worth your time? Yeah, can you do it? But is it gonna take you three times as long as a
mhm,
professional would do it, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, your mom, you have classes, you're doing all those things, and you're like, is it really worth you staying there, you know,
Yeah.
twice as
Yeah, you
much?
gotta, I think that's what the bigger thing too is, like, understanding the value of your time as well. Like before, it's like, yeah, I could do it, and now it's like, no, because if I spend time doing this, that's gonna be X amount of man hours, and then I still need to get this done and have these other things to do. Um, and my time would be more well spent doing like the finances or finding the tenant. So because that was the other thing that I was doing at that time as well, was like, marketing, figuring out the rent ready whole, platform and all that. So that would have taken away from that and finding a tenant. And so my time, yeah, I spent, let's say it was $500 difference, but now I was able to like market and talk to potential tenants, and now I got a tenant ready to go. Like, otherwise I would have been barely just trying to find a tenant right
Yeah.
now. So yeah, those are things as well, like balancing um your time versus like trying to save just a little bit money, which, yeah, $500 is a lot, but at the same time it's like, compared to what, like, now I got a tenant ready that's going to pay those $500, because that's the prorated rent that's going to be when they move in. So
And you also said like when you open a wall and you saw like the termite damage, you thought it was black mold and you started running outside. And that was like I can
yeah,
understand what like you're like, oh my god, are we exposed?
yeah, huh.
I I can only imagine my reaction. I'm like, oh, we were exposed.
Yeah, that's how I was, because again, right, like, that's like you were not wearing respirators at that point. And so we just pulled it just to take a peek, and I walked out, because my husband was, because we just thought it was like water, a little bit of water damage, and we pulled a little section, and it wasn't bad, right? No, didn't see the mode. It was just like, the damage. And then he ends up pulling the whole thing, and he came out. He's like, "Oh no, I was in the room, but I was painting." And he's like, "Get out!" He was so dramatic, and like he's like, "Get out!" I was like, "What? What?" And then he like, and then I got reprimanded because I was like, "What? What? What?" He's like, next time when I say like, like question me after or whatever. And I was like, okay. And so then he's like, he like, I was like, I'm thinking it's black mold or whatever, and this and that's all over the wall. And, he's telling me, and they're like, all right, well, we got these respirators. Like, I could go take a look and stuff. And went there and I looked and it was more
Sit down.
termites.
I'll go check it out.
Yeah, like I'll go check it out. Like, well, and no, then turned out it was just like old termite tunnels that were already like dried out and just crumbly and stuff. And so it's all on the wall. I think I post I don't remember if I did it as a story or as a post, but it should be on my social media somewhere.
Mhm.
Well, if it's story, it's not no longer there, but I'm gonna do a video. Well, do a video on that anyways. So, but yeah, you can see how the tunnels, and you called the termite guy. He came and he's like, yeah, definitely termites. I was like, but it's old, so they probably already moved out. Like, it probably was like a rainy season that they came in and were like here, but then it dried out and they went back out. Uh, so yeah, just got it treated, and that was pretty much it. And now we're just going. The dry was still good. It's just has that dirt on it, so just gonna except the one at the bottom, we replaced that one, but the big old one looks like it's still usable.
Mhm.
So just clean it up and then put a new what did I say? I was gonna put like beadboard or something over it, and then keep it moving.
Yeah, that reminds me also to like you need to try to find solutions for like everything, and usually most things have one or more solutions. So, like for example, like I just got a tree taken out of my front house,
Hmm.
and one of the quotes that I got was like lower than the other quotes, and that made me a little suspicious of like, well, what's going on? Why is it so low? Which in my head I had like a higher quote, but also like I needed to find out if the tree is just because in California you have to like find out if the tree is a protected tree, and I was like,
Oh.
let me look it up in ChatGPT. Is this tree like a protected species? So like I uploaded it to three different ChatGPTs, and two of them say like it's a protected tree. One said it's not. So I was like, oh my god. So I don't even know like the answer, but I'm like probably not even 90% true as a protected tree. But then like I have to find like the answer, right? So I have to get an arborist, and actually there's arborists that you can make a video call with, and
Hmm.
they will let you know if like the tree is a protected species or not. And that's what I did. And that was significantly less costly than having somebody come out here and like give me a report, right? And then I was like,
Hmm.
that's even a thing that they do. So that's something that like I wanted to find out. And it wasn't a protected tree. So I had to like I was able to take it down without breaking the law or something.
Yeah.
Or like having to have the permit pulled and then somebody come up and then make some kind of remediation, because like when it's a protected tree you have to like replant
Hmm.
things. So yeah, there is more than one solution to everything, so don't freak
Yeah.
out with things rise up.
Yeah, I think, and then so because me and Lynn, we just recorded an episode for like kind of skills as a real estate investor. So we'll probably have to do a part two because we did that one and then we did another episode and then now we're doing this live and now I'm thinking of other things like, oh yeah. So I guess we'll do a part two of like skills you wouldn't think that you would need, which is like finding solutions and doing research and navigating that because yeah, that's something that like you would have to learn that understanding that like nobody would really think about like, oh, let me double check that this tree is not protected, that I could actually take it down. So I think I might have would have overlooked that. I feel like even though like I would, it's logical, right? Like now that you said it, I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely something I would have probably had to check. um but I feel like I would have overlooked looked it.
Yeah,
um
because I thought the same thing, and I mentioned it. This is why it's important to have like people that are in real estate or have done this, like the things they have done, I
Mhm.
like told somebody and they were like, "Oh, just make sure it's not a protected species." And I was like, "Okay, well, it's in my property line. Even if it's a protected species, like, what am I going to do?" Like, then I have to remember, no, I live in like the most restricted area.
Yeah.
Also, you have to make sure you're doing things by
Yeah. Even with
legal.
the asbestos, because like like the regulation, you could leave it there, right? And then because I haven't tested it, like I get like a
Leeway.
suspected, right? A suspected. It's not confirmed. So there's certain things you have to do if it's confirmed versus suspected. But in both, like as long as it's not like disturbed or anything like that, it's fine, and you could leave it there. But the thing that I chose, why I chose to remove it was because I knew I'd probably at some point or another have to go up there and do some maintenance by myself, or I knew we had to get the installation guy, because even there was some parts that were not insulated. So it's like if I had to bring somebody up there, like I don't want them exposed to that. I was like, I might need to go up there to fix something, and I don't want to be like exposed to it, whatever. So I was like, you know what, like just gonna go ahead and just do it now, like versus then later on or whatever. So even some of those again have solutions, like asbestos is not like, oh my god, and there's like a lot of houses down here that have asbestos siding and stuff, which you could just leave,
Hmm.
uh and it's fine, as long as you're not messing with it. There's lots of houses that have lead. I'm kind of pretty sure mine's might be lead too, like
Hmm.
the outside paint, the exterior paint. I'm pretty sure that's probably lead. So that'll be another thing further down the line, but it's fine right now. Again, the
Hmm.
regulation says it's fine as long as it's not like, like too crazy, whatever. So, and there's ways around that. Like, if it's, you can encapsulate, like there's paint that you could paint over it to like encapsulate it and all that stuff. So there's solutions out there. It's just don't let that panic uh like cloud your mind, because then you're gonna prevent yourself from finding those solutions.
Yeah, yeah. I was listening to a call the other day, and they were talking about doing rehabs for like a burst. And usually, when you're a beginner and then you're going into rehab, you are going to freak out. Like that's just what's going to happen, because like
Mhm.
you're gonna try to budget for everything, make sure that all the quotes that you're getting are, yeah, more than one quote, and but nothing is gonna give you the confidence up until like you deal with it yourself, and then you're just we were talking about it earlier, like you have to be type A and type B at the same time. Like you can be just type A, like you can just live in the spreadsheet and the numbers, and like every time they did deviate from that actual numbers that you suspected, you're gonna have to like figure it out. Like you're gonna have to go with the flow and point, okay, this is the challenge or the problem that I'm having right now. How do we go about it? Can we fix it now? Can we fix it later? Like how much is it gonna cost? But you cannot let that deter you from finishing the project.
Yeah, we definitely, yeah, because Lynn had asked me, like, I'm like, are you a type A or a type B? And I was like, I think I'm in the middle. I was like, I'm an organized chaos type of person. You know, like I won't like I'll start something even if I don't have like the perfect plan or whatever, like with this rehab. Like I didn't have like a whole plan on stuff. But then throughout as I'm going, then I went back and created my spreadsheet to track all of my expenses and the timeline, and just then became more organized. So I think I have a good middle ground as well, because we were thinking about, like, I feel like I think you were saying like you feel like most real estate investors end up being a type A, or they become a little bit more type A as you go, because if you stay in type B, like the more, I guess, extreme cases, I feel like they just end up just not continuing, because either they end up with a bad deal that just like, you know don't want to anymore, or they just or something just stops them.
Yeah, there's definitely that kind of person that just jumps to action without like thinking things through or like running any numbers. You're like, it's all gonna work out, and then the kind of person like, yeah, I'm gonna figure it out. But at the end of the day, if you do figure it out and like the numbers don't work, or it wasn't worth your time almost at the
Hmm.
end of it. So that's, like you said, a lot of people like go into real estate without even doing any research, and then they're hit with like so many things like vacancy, repairs, maintenance, like squatters, evictions, which are things that at one point are going to happen to you, and you should know that, right? You should be like in the know, but also you can make sure like there's not going to be a you're not going to be able to foresee every single thing that's going to happen to you. So like you have to have action at one point.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely a good mixture of both because some type A personalities, they just never get started. They just get stuck in the research phase, and or they want to go into it um like whenever they find that perfect deal and stuff. And I know a few people that are just like, they're in the networks or whatever, and they're just still on the sidelines because they can't seem to find the perfect thing that they're. I was like, so a little bit in between, I think is a good middle ground.
Hmm. What are you guys doing on the chats? Did you have a fun Saturday today? We're just chatting about like our updates. I was also telling Violetta that I decided to do another EDU in my house. And then so we have architect
She's gonna
drawing.
end up with the whole apartment building. She's gonna be the only apartment building in that neighborhood.
No, I'm not the only one. That's the thing. That's why I was like, oh, it's gonna look ugly, right? Like
Mhm.
it is a corner lot. And then so normally right now, because the ADU that I had was in the garage on the other side of the street, it doesn't look like it was a garage conversion, and it's kind of like inwards too.
Mhm.
So you can even tell. So like it doesn't look like nothing changed. But if I put something on the front of the house, now it's going to be like it's the curb appeal, right?
Mhm.
But then now I seen a lot of units being built. So I was just like, okay, well, if my neighbors are doing it, then what can I do? And then they just told me, my architect just told me I can build a two-story.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then also me thinking I can do everything. I was like, me and ChatGPT, I'm gonna be the contractor on this project, and I'm just gonna subcontract all the trades. And then
Yeah.
my parents are like, you're crazy, but we'll see.
Yeah, because now, like, I mean, in hindsight, like, especially, it's like, again, kind of going back to the like saving money and also doing things yourself and that like I could do it myself and everything. I feel like with my whole background, and even though I haven't managed a specific like real estate project, I've done so many other different types of projects that need to get done. Like in the military, you got things that you got to get done, and you got to set timelines, you got to find the resources and all that stuff. All of those skills that you use for that type of stuff can be used for project management, because like, I feel like that's what you need. Like, you just, okay, this needs to go first, and that. And I did some of that here, even in a smaller scale with the washer and dryer hookups. Like, okay, I got to get the electrician over here, I got to get the plumber, and then this one has to go first, and then the plumbing, because they're going to be in the way of the other guy, and blah blah blah, whatever. So a little bit of the timeline as well. Same with installation and all that, like little things like that. um, I feel like I'm pretty confident that I can do the project management for the ADU that I want to build in this rental property as well. So I was like, how hard can it be? You could clip this later when I come update after I build the ADU. It's like, remember this?
I don't think I have any contractors in the chat that's gonna lift me up on fire right now, but
That's why I
uh,
was trying to be careful. It's like, oh, I don't want to be like step on toes. Like, how hard can it be?
I was
And
just like, I don't know. I think I can do everything, I guess, but because
yeah.
I've done the back, and I was at the time I didn't have
Yeah.
time, right? So I did a contractor, and that was the first time that I was doing something anything like
Yeah.
that. So like I saw all the problems. I wasn't there for every single thing because I do work, right? I do for 5 days a
Yeah.
week. So I'm like, I'm not there watching every single thing, but I feel like I could probably troubleshoot some of the things that were problematic, but
Yeah.
I don't know. And
But
then,
I think we're like, for like the audience to say, to understand that we're saying it after years of doing some real estate investing, and on top of that of our professional careers, because I know in yours, like, you have to troubleshoot some things as well. So, and like, we're older, so we've had more experiences and jobs and things like that. So I feel like I can say, like, how hard can it be based on my experience and the jobs I've had, and things like that, and my background, education, whatever, versus somebody that's barely getting started, you
yeah.
know uh so I think that would be the difference.
And we do have a question from JSEC here. It says, what would you advise to somebody that keeps changing the strategy all the time?
Yeah. Oh, me first. Okay. So I think this has, like, you have to figure out why. Like, it stems from a lack of direction, of figuring out what is your goal. Like, a lot of people, kind of what we were talking about, of the B type personality, they just go for it, and which is fine, but at some point you got to figure out, like, what's the end goal, like, what is it that you're trying to do. And when you don't have that, you're going to, I guess, be squirrely. Like, everything's going to catch your attention, and then you're going to be like, actually, you know what, I want to try this, and I want to try that, or whatever, because you don't have a set goal. Like, you're going to go for an Airbnb, and that's going to require more, like, time and effort, or whatever. Or you want to self manage properties, or you want to do a fix and flips, when you don't have necessarily the time. Maybe you have, like, a full-time job that you work, like, 12 plus hour shifts, but you want to have a fix and flip and then do it yourself, like, but you see it on social media that these people are making so much money with this, or whatever, so that pulled your attention. And because you don't have a goal, or what you're trying to accomplish, like, all of these strategies are just pulling you, and then you keep trying, and then you realize, like, you know what, actually, fix and flip, I don't have time for that, so I'm going to do this now. I'm going to go buy an RV park or whatever, but then that's work as well, or whatever. So I think that stems from that, not understanding what is it you're trying to do, putting yourself first. And we kind of, like, uh talked about it briefly in one of the episodes, so, where we talked a little bit about that, is like, understanding, like, your why, and not getting distracted of what everybody else is doing, because all these strategies are good. It's just what is good for you, what you're trying to accomplish. Like, you're going to make, like, all of these strategies are going to make you money, but how much money do you need? What's your lifestyle? Like, what do you want it to be? You want to be able to go on vacations and not stress about it? Then, like, managing properties yourself is not probably going to be the best, because then you're going to have tenants, unless you could find a balance with that. But because I know some people do, and they still get to travel, whatever. So
Mhm.
I think the big, uh, that's where that stems from, is you don't have a goal, what you're trying to achieve, and so then you're just all over the dang place.
Mhm. I think that, yeah, if somebody keeps trying to change their strategy all the time, I feel like it's a lot of shiny eye syndrome
Hmm.
because you see everybody thriving like on social media, like, right? Not
Hmm.
everybody is like, oh yeah, I'm making 5 figures a month from my rentals or from my short-term rentals or whatever, or I retire in 2 years and I love my job, right? But they don't tell you like what's happened. They don't tell you like did they have a fire in their rental. They didn't tell you they borrow money from family. They don't tell you they're over leveraged. They don't tell you all of the downsides. So like it's really easy to be like, oh, I'm just gonna do what that person is doing because they're killing it, right? And it
Mhm.
seems so easy, but they don't tell you. Look at Brandon Turner right now. He is
Mhm.
the biggest name in real estate and jumped into syndication, being an operator. He had no business because he's never been an operator in the past. He used to do like one rental at a time, right? He used to do rentals after rentals. And he committing basically admitting that he lost $50 million on the last deal. And
Mhm.
he has to raise more money for his next deals. Like that big of a person who made it seem like, oh, just give me your money. I'm just going to make your money double, right?
Mhm.
Made it so easy. It's losing millions of dollars right now. So nobody knows anybody else's business until you're walking on their own shoes.
Mhm.
So it's really easy to have shiny eye syndrome, but really what you have to know is your limitations. For example, my limitations right now are time wise. That's why I invest out of state. That's why I have a property manager. That's why the one project I committed to be in my backyard was one ADU, right? That's all I can manage. But
Mhm.
another limitation right now for me, mental and not even physical, or like me needing to be in a person, is like a lot of people do fix and flip and they do active income. I am terrified mentally of like taking other people's money and
Mhm.
have a debt to somebody else's money and to fail with that. Like that is my mental block right now.
Mhm.
I know that maybe in a year or 2 years, or maybe 3 years, when I feel more comfortable with my portfolio or comfortable with my passive income, maybe that won't be a mental block anymore. But I know that's a mental limitation right now. I know a physical limitation is like I can manage my out of state rentals at this point because I don't really have the time and I won't be able to perform or even directly message to somebody while I'm at work, right? So I
Mhm.
know that. And if some people have other limitations, money limitations, how much money you have to invest. Is your W 2 fixed income? Is your or do you work with variable income, right? Do you
Mhm.
have enough money to like support you and your family? Like you do have to pick something that's going to be a tune for yourself. And then if you change your strategy year after year after year, then you're not going to even be able to assess what you're doing is currently successful, right?
Mhm.
One of the things that I'm doing right now is optimizing my portfolio, and it's really hard to like sit down and like not actively buy anything. Like right now, earlier I sent a possible burr to one of my friends because they're like they wanted to get a burr, and I'm like, this is perfect for a burr. If you want to flip it, you can flip it, and like I enjoy doing that, right? I'm kind of sad I can't move forward into that house that I see as a perfect flip of burr, but I have to like slow down and see if what I built already right now it's going to support itself and give me back a profit, right? Like
Mhm.
I moved so fast for the last 3 years in one market only. I haven't deviated for anything like that. I need to assess if that's like worth it to continue to spend my time, and it's not gonna deter me to not move or to not buy anything else during this year
Mhm.
if it's truly like something that I want to continue doing.
I think another thing that uh, I think, like in Brandon's case, and there's some another person that like I used to follow, and this was more like geared towards the military, like military that wanted to do real estate investing, and he created a whole community. And I feel like one of the things too with them is they strayed away from their why, right? Because for Brandon, I feel like he got so big and everything that he feels that pressure that he needs to do bigger and better things, right? Like he has to go do this big multi-million-dollar syndication deal because that's the next step, right? Like you to grow your portfolio and do more bigger projects. And so because of that, he kind of ended up making that mistake because he was just trying to I guess keep up with the bigger millionaire, multimillionaire real estate investors that are out here doing it. And same thing with this other guy that I was in his community because I was in the military and everything like that. And his goal and his whole mission was to help like people in like military or like veterans or whatever get into real estate investing and all of that. But then it became like you started seeing a shift, and I feel like it started when he got a coach. Like you of course you want a business coach and blah blah blah, but I think his business coach or whoever was maybe steering him more towards like just making money. So then he started trying to do those types of deal syndications, which kind of like started like push away his core audience and strain away from his mission. And then everything got so overpriced, and so now people are mad. I still get like emails or be like, hey, I want to see, why, you left and blah blah blah. And it's because I think being trying to become this big deal real estate investor, he strayed away from his goal and his mission, and then now he's trying to pull back because like now his community is suffering because we're kind of like pushed off. Like we like a whole uh, the the little group that we had, because they have the same thing where you have like little groups of like meetup that you're separated into groups for accountability stuff. My whole group left, or is I think maybe one or two Z are still in, but that's just because of they're under the contract. Which that's another thing that he started, like these big pricey contracts that weren't clear and all this stuff, and we're like, what the heck, and everything. So it geared towards more like just making money versus like the mission. And so he realized that, and now he's trying to pull back, and it's like, well, you lost um, some of our loyalty, I guess, because you were too busy trying to be a big dog over here and do all these big syndications and all that stuff. That I mean, if that's what you want to do, I mean, you're gonna have to give one or the other. I was like, either you when you first started, your goal was to help the military members and whatever and community, but you also want to go do that, so you kind of have to do one or the other. And I feel that affected that. Um, and with Brandon, I think he was just trying to keep up with the top dogs that are doing these big things. So
Hmm.
I guess lesson learned for us to figure out. Because for me, like, yeah, like I'm not trying to go syndications because I'm the same way. I don't want to be responsible for like making sure that this is like I want it to only affect me because I could take it and I don't need that much. I just want a certain amount so I could be settled and leave some stuff. And then after that, I'll probably just do fun projects.
Yeah. Jasek, I probably think you're already famous by name, so I don't think you need more help with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but we wanted to come up here and then, make sure that we're updating you guys. We haven't forgot, just life got in the way of my our lives and our episodes, but we're back and we're gonna keep on doing. We have a lot of horror stories to share, so
Yep.
stay tuned. Currently working on one right now. So
Yeah, I'm excited to see the outcome for that.
yeah. Okay. So we will see each other next time. I know it's like uh improvise kind of live, but we'll try to make it more schedule. Okay. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Don't forget to tune in.